You know, when I think about Christmas, I think about when I was a youth pastor in Petersburg, Alaska. And I used to go to the nursing home about once a month with Pastor Wixon, who was the pastor that I served under. And he loved the elderly people. He used to go and visit them all the time, and he'd take them foods, and we had a big people mover that the church had bought from an airport, and it used to be the youth van, and he used to go there every once in a while and grab a bunch of the people from the nursing home and put them in that people mover and take them up through the mountains and take them and buy them ice cream or do something special with them, take them out to look at flowers. And he really had a heart for the elderly people. And there was one elderly lady whose name was Emily. And Emily, once in a while, her daughter would walk her around town or push her around town in her wheelchair. And Emily didn't speak. Well, she did, but she didn't. Whenever you would ask her something and she wanted to affirm it, she would say yes. But if you ask her something that was negative and she didn't like it, she would go, nah, 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 nah. And so it would be cold outside. The pastor might see Emily getting pushed by the store, and he might go, well, hey, Emily, is it cold enough for you? And she might go, no, 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 because she didn't like the cold. And he'd say, well, are you having a decent day anyway? And she'd go, yes. And one of the things that Pastor Wixon liked to do is he liked to tease her. Every once in a while, he'd walk up to her after a service or walk up and say, did you enjoy yourself today? And she'd go, oh, yes. And he'd say, what's my name? And she'd go, no, 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 no. We used to visit Emily after our services. Pastor Wixon used to go and visit everybody in their rooms for a little while after we'd conduct a service at the nursing home. And I remember one day we visited with Emily after a service, and she was the last person we visited, and we spent a significant amount of time with her. And of course, she couldn't communicate back with us. All she could say was yes or nah, 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 nah. But Pastor Wixon would tell her stories about his family, and we talked for a long time. And then I remember Pastor Wixon said, well, Emily, it's time for us to go. And he said, come on, Troy, we got to go do some stuff. So I got up, and as we walked out of the room, Emily rolled her wheelchair out of the room, and she followed us down the hallway going, nah, 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 nah. She was so hungry for love, for somebody to visit her. Well, the reason I think about her at Christmas time is because one Christmas, Pastor Wixon decided he was going to make all of the old-timers up there. A lot of them were Scandinavians, and they liked stinky stuff like lutefisk and Limburger cheese. And so he made a bunch of the stinky stuff that he called. And it was basically old-timer food, and made a bunch of plates and put foil up over them. And Christmas Day, he went to the nursing home, and he was by himself. I wish I had been there. But he went to the nursing home to everybody's room that he knew, and he brought them these meals. And so many of them would say, oh, this is so good. This reminds me of my childhood, or this is what I used to like. And he went to Emily's room. He put the plate right underneath Emily. And he said, here you go, Emily. Merry Christmas. And he opened up the tinfoil. She got a whiff of that stuff. And she was like, yes. And he looked at her, and he saw the joy just living in her eyes, knowing that some of those smells had reminded her of her past. And she began to eat that stuff. And as he always did, Pastor Wixon decided, well, it's Christmas Day. Might as well not change. I'm going to tease her. What's my name, Emily? Emily put her fork down and looked up at him and said, Pastor Wixon. And she began to tell him about her Hungarian heritage and how when she came to America, she had such a thick accent that she'd quit communicating in English because nobody could understand her anyway. She just would say yes or give a negative affirmation for something that she didn't want. And it was like a whole world that had been closed had opened up on that Christmas Day. And I remember Pastor Wixon telling us about it, and he was in tears. Because he'd taken the time to love somebody, to care about somebody, to spend time with somebody who other people weren't spending very much time with. And when he did that, because of that love and that friendship, he realized there was more there than what met the eye. Emily was willing to trust him. And from that day on, when Emily and Pastor Wixon were by themselves, she would speak to him and she would tell him things and she would talk to him, and they began to have a relationship. He was one of the only people that she talked to. So I just want to challenge you this Christmas. Open up your heart to others. Give yourself away in ways that can bless other people. Challenge yourself to love others with extraordinary love. And what you get back will amaze you if you'll take the time to invest in other people. And to me, that's what Christmas is all about. It's sharing the things we have with those that we care about and love. Not wanting something in return, but just doing it out of the goodness and the kindness